Hello everyone, I'm Tim from Tim's PC, and I build custom PCs to suit anyone's needs or budget. Also live stream my builds and repairs for transparency and educational purposes. So if you'd like to get an awesome new PC and you'd like to see it put together live, send me a message today. Alrighty, so tonight we've got a very rainy, miserable night here in Brisbane. It's just been pissing down with rain. And I want to just sit around singing 80s songs, but you know, I better actually build this customer's computer. But I don't know about you, but who agrees that on a rainy night you just feel like sort of lying around doing nothing, going to bed early, sort of thing like that. I know I certainly do. But let's get into tonight's PC build. So we've got a 3060 Ti rig here. It's going to be a little bit of more stealth 3060 Ti rig this time, but we'll go through the components here. We've got ourselves the i5 11500F. We've got an MSI Mag B560M Mortar Wi-Fi motherboard. It's quite a nice looking motherboard. We'll have a look at that when we unbox it. We've got 32 gigabytes of Corsair RAM, 3200 MHz CL16. We've got a 500 gigabyte NVMe SSD. The aforementioned RTX 3060 here. This is the Asus Dual, so don't let the size of this one fool you. It's actually quite a good performing card. It's the one that they make for like the, you know, those fancy mini ITX builds that are like really tiny compact case. These are the sort of cards that fit that. I'm just going to go through the components, then I'll go to the comments. We've got a 3 terabyte hard drive here. We've got a 750 watt gigabyte 80 plus gold power supply here with the 5-year warranty on that one. So it's actually a really good unit, that power supply. And we're going to be putting it in an Antec NX320 case here. And Christine said we've got some comments. Haha, yes. Hey, how you going? Good to have you with us. Patrick's here with a dad joke. I think I got to start replying with a dad joke.
Patrick says my wife asked if she could have some peace and quiet while she cooked dinner, so I took the batteries out of the smoke detector.
I love it. Because we all hate that smoke detector sound going off. Oh, like I know they're there to obviously save lives and stuff, but it's just such a horrible sound, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And now the legislation means that they're going to link them all together in the house. So instead of just one going off, they're going to go off all through the house. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. We own property, and we have a time frame to comply with the legislation. We don't own it. The bank owns most of it. We've been paying for it for like 11 or 12 years now. That's about it. Anyway, so let's get started with our PC build here tonight. So starting with this motherboard, so I'll have a look at this one. This is quite a nice motherboard. It's got all the right features in the right places. It's got some nice heat sinks on our MOSFET BRM co-processors, all that kind of stuff. And I'm not sure if it's just the extra weight from those heat sinks that I'm feeling here, but it feels like that just looks like normal thickness on the PCB. But yes, this is that board there. So as you can see, quite a nice looking board. Ticks a lot of boxes there for anyone who's using it. Dual channel memory, dual M2. You got the bottom slot there is X4 but X16 length. You got USB-C. How many fan headers on this baby? 1, 2, 3. Is that only 4 fan headers? That's one thing that this board kind of lacks. Not that we're going to need a whole shitload of fan headers for this build.
I missed the message, but Cameron wants to know. He's like, don't want to be rude, but do you reply on Messenger?
Yeah, I do, but there's a,
We've had some shit
we've had
going
stuff
on.
going on the last few days, so just be patient. Just be patient. I'm just one person. I don't have like a marketing team to like get back to everyone's messages and stuff like that. So sometimes you just have to play it by ear. Yeah.
Funeral listeners, and we get our weekly GPU update tonight.
Weekly GPU update. Well, what do you want to know? What do you want to know? I haven't
Some
learned
fun facts
I haven't learned anything new about GPUs in the last.
Give us a fun fact.
Fun fact. I don't know. What do you want to know? This is always the problem because it's like what I know things, but I don't know what people don't know. I don't know what they do know. Alrighty, so got our memory in there, so we could expand to 64 one day. I don't know why an ordinary user would have to expand to 64 even with, even in 8 years time. I don't see any reason why an ordinary user would have to go over 32 gigabytes absolute maximum. It's absolutely immense amount of memory for the CPU to utilize.
Tim?
Yeah. Yeah, you can get like are you in Australia? Do you deal in dollary dues?
I'm assuming so.
If you deal in dollary dues, okay, you talk in Australian prices, that is. Then yeah, you can get a 3080 for about $1,200 now, which is pretty good compared to what they used to be. Well, let me change my screwdriver. I need to install an M2 offset down here. If not, we just have a M2 drive sticking out of the motherboard there, not tied down. That wouldn't be very good, would it? They actually do work. So see how it's just sort of sticking up there and it's on a little bit of a spring inside the socket? Well, that is actually connected. This is just secured and tied down, but they'll still work like that. So in a testing debug kind of scenario, when like I've got a problem, I've got to like basically tear a computer apart to try to work out what the problem is, I might grab your M2 drives out and plug them into my test bench, and they might just be plugged in like that because I'm not going to try to do anything significant on them. I just want to see that the drives are there and are being detected and are functional. I don't need to bother putting the screw down just to do that.
Tim, says dollar dues all day round these parts, fella.
Yeah, so yeah, you can pick up RTX 3080 for about $1,300 now. You might have to. It might not be at like the first retailer you check, and the certain model might not be in stock everywhere. But I know, I know you can definitely find the Gigabyte RTX 3080 Eagle 10 gigabyte for $12.99 at various retailers. And so don't worry too much about it being the Eagle. It's an excellent card. Thermally performs really well. The cooling on it is excellent. You don't have to worry about the fact that it's not the top of the range card there. It's not some piece of shit that overheats or anything like that. No, it's a very well behaved card. I've used it in plenty of builds here. You can find one and watch the benchmarks from it when we test it, but it behaves itself under load. So no problems there at all with that one there. So have a look out for it. It's specifically the 10 gigabyte version. So that's if you're after one at or close to RRP, that's the one you want. The 12 gigabyte ones, they're all selling for more. Probably just because the manufacturer and the major retailers think that they can get away with selling it for more, to be completely honest. But hey, that's just my perspective. Hey Luke, yeah, Luke will be getting his really soon. I think Luke got. No, we didn't do Express because it was going to cost a stupid amount. Like I quoted him the normal amount, but then when we put in his exact postcode and stuff, I was supposed to be like, yeah, it's going to be like $250 Express post.
What?
And I was like, are you serious? I'm like, I've already charged.
My liver as well.
Oh, yeah, I know, right?
Tim,
Yeah.
Lionel says, I'm hoping for MSI Supreme X. What's your opinion on them?
Oh, they're great as well, man. But like, you probably won't find one of them close to cost price because, yeah. You've gotta. If you're sitting there going, I want a 3080 at MSRP, okay. It's a beggars choosers type situation there, man. I hate to say it. You can't just be like, oh, I want the ROG Strix 3080 or the MSI Supreme X, or something like that, and I want it at like $12.99. It's just not going to happen right now, unfortunately. Yeah, that's important stuff for consumers to wrap their heads around with CPUs and GPUs, the whole binning process of silicon. They don't it's not normally a case of they go to make, say, the 3080 GPU, which is called the GA102. They don't just go and make them and they all come out the same and it's all sweet. No, that one GPU that the 3080 is based on, as I've said before, that's the same one the 3080 Ti is based on, and the 3090 and the 3090 Ti is based on. So it's all about that binning and how they're tuned from factory. That's what sort of gives you the actual performance of the card that you've got. Alrighty, and so yeah, with that, once again, I've just sort of hooked that cable around there, used up the cable length and routed it to that fan header. Nice and easy, just install these coolers. Yeah.
Recently awarded the Medal of Honor from Zelensky in the Ukraine because he's detected over 200 explosive devices.
Oh, good on him.
Good little doggo.
Dog has no idea what's going on though.
Nah. He's just like, I'm gonna get trees later.
He's just like, yeah, I can smell a tasty day ahead. As dark as that is, but yeah, that's kind of it, right? Oh, one of these.
He's a little like, I'm pretty sure he's like a Jack Russell cross.
One of these bolts took out the mount that it sits in.
Tim Fiona says you talk like this straight up bogan. You really know your stuff, cheers. Queenslanders, but I've made an exception in your case.
Oh, nice. Yeah, look, man, I don't speak for anyone else in my state, okay? All right, I'm well aware. As someone who lives here, I am well aware of, yeah, what some people are like. Yeah, we're definitely not all like that, and certainly not Southeast Queenslanders. We're a bit more sophisticated than that. Okay.
We try to be.
Well, come on, man. Half of the people here in southeast Queensland are just people who moved up from New South Wales and Victoria. Let's be real.
Yeah, we got outbid on one place because some bastard from South Australia decided to pay a full.
Yeah, people. We were outbidded.
rent.
We were outbidded on like a rental by people who were going to pay a whole year's rent in advance.
Yeah.
What the
that's
fuck?
insane.
Who the fuck? Sorry, I don't. Jesus,
Mind you, the
that's not
place-
what I'd be spending the like
No,
what 30,
no.
40 grand. Wow.
Mind you, the place had a pool and it had like fibre to.
But
the
it wasn't that
house.
great.
No. If you had a really good sense of smell, you'd be like, ooh, it smells like old person.
Yeah. Alrighty. So we got the capacity here to install multiple hard drives, but we've only got our 1 3 terabyte unit here.
So,
Yeah.
I had that happen in Victoria as well. It's just people for you. Pretty much.
Yeah.
They're just buying up all the cheap stuff that's going on in Queensland at the moment.
Yep. Yeah, basically like so
Compared to other
we're
states,
in places in southeast Queensland where you could still get a where you could still rent a 3-bedroom house for like $220 a week. Those places are all but gone these days.
Yup.
Even in those areas, I've checked again, they're all over 400 now. And this is not in Brisbane. This is in a rural township, ages away from Queensland. Sorry, from Brisbane. Sorry, no, it's in Queensland.
Yeah.
No, the place I'm referring to is called Lowood, if you want to look it up. And so that used to have, $200 a week cheap rentals and stuff like that. So old people and all that started, they moved out there for cheap rent and stuff like that. And really young families from bad situations would end up out there and stuff like that. But yeah, now even out there, and that's an hour and 15 minutes from Brisbane CBD. Yeah, it's still it's not good.
Fiona says, why not buy?
What's that?
Why not buy?
Why not buy?
Well, we do.
Well,
own-
we have a property that we own.
We have a little investment.
Yeah.
Why in our pocket?
Yeah, we've got a little place that we do own that we rent out. But see, the thing is, buying a house that ties you down to a particular area, a particular region, it doesn't give you much mobility. And also, if you ever want to travel or something like that, having a house makes it very, very difficult. You've got to either find someone who's going to short-term lease it for you, or you've got to pay your mortgage while you pay for your international holiday. So that can be a real problem for so many people out there, right? So the problem I had here using these two holes is the two included screws have too much of a lip for me to slide it in there. So I'm going to have to use these bottom 4 mounting holes for the hard drive. Not really a big deal, but just something to be aware of so you don't go and waste time installing screws that aren't even going to fit in the case properly.
Tim,
Yeah.
Neil wants to know what's your thoughts on AM5. I want to do an upgrade and I don't know to go with AM4 or wait for the new AM5.
Well, see, I mean, I don't really know much about AM5 because they haven't really released too much information about AM5. We have to wait and see what they actually release when they fully announce it and it's imminent to launch. That's when we're going to get a lot of the final details about it. But I mean, what we know right now is that the AM4 socket's dead AMD is moving to LGA type sockets, the same as Intel. So it is a whole new socket change. So you won't be able to install your Ryzen 6000 CPUs onto the existing motherboards. So X570 is dead, essentially on the high end enthusiast side of things. So I'm assuming there'll be an X670, or they'll change the number scheme up. I don't know what they're going to do. It's all speculation.
Storm Chasing's about to do a live feed themselves because of all the rain that's happening in Queensland. It's about to get worse.
Yeah.
Like the people out west, and say like St. George, Dorby, Orion.
Yeah, true.
Even people down at like Moree and Inverell. Tenterfield and stuff are getting fucked up too. Jeez.
Alright.
Did we just move to the tropics or something? Or
Yeah, apparently. But it's not even moving to the tropics, because right now in the tropics is the dry season.
Yeah.
So they normally don't get fuck all rain this time of year.
Check this out from Higgins.
Yeah, that's actually great for that's actually excellent for our agricultural sector right now. That's that much rain there right now means months and months ahead of good conditions. Yeah, it'll be the end of drought for sure, considering everything else that they've had. Sorry, don't mind me reacting to Christine's stuff on Facebook. Maybe she can share that with the stream, what she was looking at, because basically a lot of our farmers are going to be pretty happy with how it's been tracking the last few months in central and southwestern Queensland in particular. Yeah.
I just hate moving house. It's convict work.
Oh, it's horrible.
I know. I swear to God, next time when we move, I'm paying somebody to move my shit.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
I'll
done.
pack it
I'm
up,
done
but
with that.
I'm not doing it again. Fuck that.
Yeah, no, I'm not. See, I'm not 21 anymore, and I don't have like what gets me about moving, especially doing what I'm doing, right? Working for myself. If I hurt myself, it's a big problem for me to go and get work cover. That's a real pain in the ass. I have no experience in sorting that out for myself. So my best solution is to be ultra safe. Don't lift things stupidly. Don't be a dickhead like when I was young and full of cum. And basically follow the advice of the company physiotherapist that was employed by the company that I used to work for, who used to give us all advice on how to do our jobs and basically everything in life safely without hurting ourselves. Really cool stuff. Made safety, made me actually for the first time in my life go, this is actually really good information, you know, instead of me sitting there going, safety, fuck that, kind of thing, like. You know, I worked at Coles for ages when I was younger. So I was like, another Coles safety initiative. Oh God, what's this shit sort of thing. But no, this guy actually got through to me, and he came in the room the first time I'd ever met him, and he's just like, right, who do you think are the best movers in the world? and someone in the room joked and they mentioned some dancer or some shit like that, and people laughed. And he's like, "Yeah, it's not what I'm talking about though. Who are the best movers in the world?" And everyone just went all silent. And he goes, "You give up?" And he goes, "In my opinion, it's the Chinese." And then he went on a whole big lecture for the next 45 minutes to an hour talking about, showing examples. Yeah, showing examples of these, like, you know, tiny little Chinese guys unloading this full truck by hand. Every carton's like 12 to 15 kilos. And they unload tons of it, and they barely raise a sweat, and they certainly don't hurt themselves at the end of it. And the way that they move is just textbook, exactly how you're meant to do it. So we spent like a whole day, well, not a whole day, but like a whole little section of the meeting focused on all these things, all these movement practices and stuff like that. And then every time we'd have a meeting, this guy'd come in for like 1 hour during the day, and he'd do another follow-up session on manual handling, how to move things smart, how to move things and not hurt yourself, basically. And yeah, just his way of communicating it made it stand out to me. And it's helping me now, helping me not fuck myself up when I don't have as easy access to work cover. Okay. So we've got a modular power supply here, so we can just install the cables that we need. Okay, so what have we got left in here? We just need one PCIe. I'll stash these other cables away, just in case the customer ever wants to upgrade anything.
Tim,
Yeah.
Lionel says that's why you need a few Tim Juniors to put to work.
Yeah.
I don't do screaming children too well. Working retail, no. I've seen some things, man. Some stuff.
Alright. So I've stashed away the surplus cables. We've got one more to plug in here.
Tim,
Yeah.
and John says, "G'day, hello."
Hey John, how you going? Good to have you with us. And so yes, Queensland definitely has the strongest Australian accent in the country. And I had no fucking idea of that fact until I basically turned 18 and decided to drive around the country. That was pretty much it. And then I went to WA, which, as I've found, has the least Australian accent. And
yeah, they're from a different country.
it's almost like a different country. It's still an Australian accent, but
Yeah,
it's got a more stronger British influence to it.
Yeah,
I don't know how to
so.
explain it. It's a very subtlety. I'm sure foreigners won't know what I'm fucking talking about, but within a country, you do understand a little bit of the subtlety to your dialect. But yeah, so I went to Western Australia, And my friends were like, "Ha, your accent's so Australian. It's because you're from Queensland." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about? I just talk normally." Fuck. Yeah.
Actually, you did sound pretty bogan just then.
I tried to sound pretty bogan just then. Of course. Come on. Come on. I'm pretty transparent when I do things like that. No, but basically, not everyone in Queensland is. Yeah. Not everyone in Queensland's the stereotype. Definitely not. But oh man, I've seen and heard some very shameful things that makes me very ashamed to be from this state. Put it that way.
Wait, Tim.
Yeah.
Falcons can live to 12 to 15 years. All falcons alive today were born in the 21st century, which means they are millennial falcons.
Millennial Falcons.
Vintage news post about a few hours ago. I like that one.
They've literally got a hole here that's drilled a little bit too big. I've got to push some metal back to make that screw in. Okay, now we'll have the correct offsets installed. We've got a built-in I/O shield. What do you reckon? I reckon we might go ahead and install a couple of extra fans. What do you reckon? Throw in a couple of extra fans here tonight. I reckon we should, because I've got absolute shitloads of these left over. Let's get a fan here without any of the cat's fucking long hair on it. It's a nice clean fan. I've just dusted it off myself. No, it's brand new. It's come off a PC within the last couple of days. It's just been over there in a pile of stuff behind me. So we can throw that in. And we've got two reverse fans here. So even though you're going to see the back of them from the top, we're going to mount these two to the top. Even though you'll see the back of them, they're actually going to be exhausting air out the top of the case. So you've got a vent here on the top, and any heat from the case will naturally obviously want to rise up the top, and then you'll have two exhaust fans there pushing it out, and also this one here on the back, just like that, and it will also be pushing air out the back. So you'll have three fans on the front blowing cool air in, and three forcing heat out the top and back of the case. So that'll be a pretty good setup. So what are these reverse fans? So I've seen retailers putting these up for sale for like $13 and stuff like that. All it is it's just like this regular Airtech fan. like that. Only from the top side, this one here will be sucking air through. So this is a normal configuration fan. These two here will be blowing air out that way. So when we have them installed like this in our case, they're going to be blowing heat out the top. Even though it'll look like it's one of these back to front, but it's not, because this is a regular direction fan and these two are the reverse fans. So just a little FYI there before someone goes, hey, the fans are upside down.
So,
Yeah.
I just want to know, do you need to do anything special with water cooling, like refill a tank or anything, or do you just leave it on the glass?
Depends what you're talking about when you're talking about water cooling. So there are ones that do require that. Or you can just go and get yourself a good quality unit, like a factory sealed loop that has a 5-year warranty, and roll with that. That is generally a much better option than pursuing the custom water cooling option. So it looks really cool, but yeah, it does require maintenance. Those nice clear tubes and stuff like that, they'll get cloudy, they get dirty over time. Bacterias and molds grow inside the liquid. There's all sorts of problems. They need to be taken apart and cleaned out and replaced and all this extra crap, and it's just not worth it. That's why I don't recommend them to people, and I just sort of don't build them for people. I will if someone brings me all the parts and they're like, hey, I just want someone to put it together for me. I'm happy to like build it for them, but I won't sell them that computer because I don't want to support them with that computer. Because I know if they have a custom loop, they will have problems, and I'm not doing the maintenance on their PCs for them for free, right? So I don't want to like be in a situation where I'm selling a customer a product that requires excessive and expensive ongoing maintenance, because that would kind of give them the shits. And yeah, I mean, fundamentally, I don't really want to waste time pulling those things apart to fix minor things and stuff like that. I will if I have to and whatnot, but it wastes a lot of time over relatively minor things in a lot of cases. So. But yeah, normal water coolers, like all-in-one liquid coolers, like the Corsair brand ones that you see me use here all the time. Yeah, absolutely. They come with 5-year warranties from factory. You're not allowed to open them up. If not, you break the warranty. So yeah, they are the sort of units that you can buy and just be like, sweet, it's going to work for at least 5 years. I don't have to touch it. I don't have to think about it. And if it does fuck up, I can just go and get a refund replacement for it, and it's all under warranty, and I won't have to pay anything. That is such a superior option than going down the custom route. Like, I know it looks really cool and stuff like that, and like I probably could build a low maintenance custom loop design. I could probably come up with something like that, but realistically I don't see too much of a point in doing it in the first place. The only thing I will do with these fans in this case, we don't have another bit in the middle to run these cables. We have to run these cables down through this hole at the very end. So one trick, if you've got multiple fans and you want to make sure all the cables stay together, route the cables to whereabouts you want along the 2 or 3 or whatever fans that you've got. And then you just want to get like a single zip tie, ideally just a small one. And then just zip tie them tight where you want the cable to come apart. Yeah. Yeah, sweet man. No worries at all. Just, yeah, drop me a message. Alrighty, so there we can see cables are all coming out down that way. These are going to go in just like that. So pretty simple, and then we won't have any issues with temperatures or airflow concerns or anything like that with this PC. Alright. And so you just position your cables and then screw in your fans. So if you've got one at the back, they generally look better pushed all the way back. So I'm just going to chuck 2 screws in each of these for now, and I'll do up the rest later. While something boring's going on, like Windows installing. There we go. So our case is all prepped. We've got 3 fan cables to route there. They are all DC. And we do have these fucking annoying cables that they route through. Look at this. They're lazy, and they got routed through there, when really I think the intention is to route them all up through here. Yeah.
Chris says, pretty sure we have a chat saved. It's saved from my phone, just wasn't sure about the water cooling as it would be the first PC I've had with water cooling.
Yeah, I mean it's relatively new. Some people are a little bit they're a little bit sort of nervous about the prospect of potentially having that in their PC. I guess what I'd say to people is that it's not really a case of the water that's doing the cooling as such. The water's just a vector. They basically got to the point where the CPU coolers that they were mounting to the motherboard just started getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and it got to the point where it was getting a bit ridiculous, right? So the engineers were like, okay, how can we put bigger radiators, attach a bigger radiator to a CPU without like connecting this big hunk of metal directly to it? And so they were like, why don't we use water to transfer the heat in a closed loop? Yeah, that'll work. And there you go. That's computer liquid cooling. So basically, just as the parts started using more and more power, they started needing more and more cooling capacity, and this was just one way to get a bit more capacity in CPU coolers without bolting bigger hunks of metal directly to the lid of the CPU, which is like a traditional air style cooler. But both a liquid cooler and an air cooler both got fans. The fans are the things that's pushing fresh air through it that's cooling it down. So they're both cooled by air, and the water, like I say all the time, is just a vector of heat transfer. It's just something that moves heat away. So a lot of people sort of and they get a bit nervous because water and electronics, obviously that's a concern. But one thing I'll tell you about computer all-in-one liquid coolers is the majority of them, they come out of like 2 different factories worldwide. Everyone just puts their brands on them and stuff like that. So the quality that you get out there is pretty good. And if you just discount all of the cheap ones and just look at the ones with like a minimum 5-year warranty, you're going to get yourself a good unit. It's going to last you 5 years, and it will be just like any other CPU cooler you've ever owned. You'll never have to do anything with it. You'll just set it up and basically forget about it. Alrighty, well, we've got everything else sort of set up in our case here. So I might go ahead and put this motherboard in. So just let me lie this down for just a second. And then see, we've already got an I/O shield pre-installed here.
Wow. You've had a whole tuner.
So it makes it a little bit easier through here.
You're a fatty.
So I can just put in okay. Sweet as. So what I'm doing right now is feeding a fan cable behind that rear I/O shield, which is normally not too difficult for me, but it's giving me a little bit of a making it a little bit difficult for me right now. What is getting in the way there? See, I could cheat. I could cheat and route the cable down there and then like around to there, which I could do as a last resort, but I like to try to do everything discreetly where possible. Geez, this seemed like it had a big enough opening here that this wouldn't cause me too much of a drama. Nah, there we go. Gotcha. So there we can see that cable is routed very discreetly through the rear I/O there, and you can't really see anything at the top. One thing I will do is I'm just going to slide these fans across just a little bit, because I have the CPU power cables to hook up. So we have a 12-pin CPU power connector up there. Alrighty. So with these split CPU power connectors, you might only have a single 8-pin power connector for your CPU. That's completely fine. Just don't plug in the little extra 4-pin one. And it's generally okay, even on motherboards that have the 2 CPU 8 pins, you can normally still just install them as a single 8-pin. So just generally the one on your left. So it's one thing about this case is there's not really much room at the top. Oh my god, I'm not having much luck up this top corner here tonight. Oh, what the fuck is wrong? My brain is wrong. That's what's fucking wrong. There you go, you fucker. Look at that. There we go. Look at that. And just like that, everything up the top is all connected. Yep, we've got nothing else to hook up there. So now what have we got here? We've got a USB 2.0 for our front panel. There we go, you bastard. Got a lot of bastards tonight, I think. There we go. USB 2. Front panel audio. Sweet. And then our front panel connections. Alrighty. So we've got a couple of other fans here. We've got 1 and 2 spare fan headers. One of them is down the bottom here. And the other one is around the side here. Sweet, and then we've just got a USB 3.0. Oh yeah, that's also down the bottom here. Not much else we can do with that one there, but that's all looking pretty neat. Okay, so that's all looking pretty good. All we've got to do around the back here is obviously our motherboard and our graphics card, but we've also got this hard drive to plug in. Alrighty. It's really strange. I swear I had a SATA cable just sitting on my desk earlier. Oh well. Have to go into the big bag of like 100 packets of these. And so we're just gonna have the one SATA device, but we're not actually gonna hook it up straight away. Marion, I'm trying to do this. Can you not try to talk to me while I'm live? She's not here. She's not here. She's in there. She's busy, okay? She's not just at your beck and call whenever you need her. Okay? Just oh my god. Sorry about that. Alrighty, so we're finally at the end of our build here tonight. We've got a few extras in here. Speaking of that, we don't want to plug that SATA cable in just yet. That'll be the last thing that we actually install. If not, Windows 10 will put boot manager on the hard drive, and we don't want that. Alrighty, so yeah, they cover this one in plastic, just like all their other ones that they need to make sure are in mint condition always. And number 2. And then finally, we've got our motherboard. And alrighty, ready to see if it actually works. I am. All right. So she's looking alive. What have we got going on here? Let's just reseed our memory here. And so the reason why I'm doing this is it just felt a little bit weird when I plugged it in. So normally your computer turning off and on again while it's posting for the first time, that's pretty normal. But repeating it like it was doing then, that's an indication that something's not right. And it looks like it was just that memory stick. I should really just trust my instincts, and if it doesn't fucking feel right, even if it looks right, just go and redo it anyway. Anyway, that's just a little personal note for me. What have we got here? ED, oh, probably won't have, oh, maybe I will actually. I'll have a quick look. Okay, so we have 7D17. Doesn't look like it, does it? Oh no, there it is, right down at the bottom, and it's an earlier one than what's there. So we're not gonna downgrade our BIOS. We don't have any reason to do that. So we'll press on. So I'll chuck in a Windows drive into our USB-C port back here. And give it something to sorry, I can't see it on my screen yet. It takes a while because it's running through the capture card. Alrighty, let's get some software on this thing. So I'll put in the Windows key later on. Alrighty, so now that you're at this stage of the Windows install, you can plug in any other SATA devices. Alright. Alright. No United States. Use that keyboard layout though, because of the dollary dudes. Yeah, I never accept any of that on anyone's behalf. Yeah, I like to set the computer up where you do you. I leave it as blank and as sort of completely ready for you as I can make it, without leaving too much shit for you to do. Okay. Now let's give it some internet. And let's get it set up. Alright. So if you haven't seen me set up a computer before, I set them all up basically the same way. I usually install pretty much all the same stuff on each of them pretty much, because what's good for the gander is good for the goose usually. So if you understand my old play on words there, essentially I don't install like bloatware sort of stuff. I install some of the top apps that people use, so like Google Chrome, the VLC media player. These are two huge apps online in terms of how many people use them every day. So they're ones that you'll always see me install. I'll also install stuff like, we've got a WD hard drive in here, so I'll install Acronis True Image for WD, which is free disk imaging software, so you can make backups of your drive and copy the contents of your drive onto a new drive and all sorts of cool stuff. So we get that installed. All this stuff here is for other motherboards and whatnot. No AMD. I'll install the 4 main gaming apps. As this has a 3060 Ti, which means it's a gaming PC. And I think I'm going to get the hiccups, which is fucking annoying, isn't it? a couple of things I need from in here. I actually need all this stuff updated. So we'll keep going. That looks like our graphics card driver. Yep, there it is. No. Sorry, I got a new mouse here. I got this Razer Death Adder V2 Halo Infinite Edition. It's pretty sick. Apparently I've got a program in a rapid fire click because none of the buttons are a rapid click, which is something that I do like on a mouse. So that's a little bit annoying that I have to program that, but beggars can't be choosers, right? Alright. So hardware monitor does exactly what the name says. It keeps track of all your temperatures and everything like that. So if you think something's overheating, that's what you turn on to run in the background to tell you the truth.
Tim,
Yeah.
Fiona wants to know, have you ever messed around with overclocking Intel CPU onboard graphics, i.e. 12700K?
Oh, the onboard graphics? No, I can't say I have. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a great deal of potential with that. I could be wrong, but my instinct tells me that yeah, you're probably not going to get too much out of that. I think if we could get the onboard graphics by overclocking to match like the 5600G, I think we'd already know about that. I think there would be someone who would already have covered that. Unfortunately, I could be wrong. Don't listen to me. I'm just one opinion. I'm only as good as the information I have. Yeah.
It's pretty old, but Sven says, hey mate.
Hey Sven, how you going? Sorry for the late reply there, but
Says Isaac just got very excited and been busting to post code on PC.
oh yeah, he'll have no problems now because 3060 Ti is a great graphics
He
card.
says, yeah, I've got that mouse here too, the Death Adder.
Yeah, do you like it? Like, I mean, I've only had it in a couple of days, so I mean, it seems pretty good to me. I like it. I like the up and down DPI buttons. I just like to program these two buttons on the side there, but that's just me being lazy and not actually going in and fully configuring it and bitching about it now. Don't mind me. So I also need MSI center. And so this is the stuff that comes on like the CD that comes with your motherboard. And obviously we don't really use CDs anymore. What I say to people if they need a CD drive is you can buy, for $30, you can get yourself a USB CD drive that's like a laptop CD drive in a portable case with a USB cable that you plug into the back of your computer. And you just unplug it and put it in your drawer, and then when you need a CD, for whatever reason you need to access something off a CD or a DVD, you just pull it out of your drawer, plug it in, put the CD in, use it for that one time, and then it just goes away in the drawer until next time. It's really as simple as that these days. So you don't have to worry about, oh, the case doesn't have a CD drive in it or anything like that. Some people who haven't bought a PC for a while freak out a little bit about that, and yeah, and then they see that for $30 they can get a USB one, and then all the problems that they saw have all vanished basically as soon as they realised there's a cheap option for that. No restart just yet. Yeah.
I just don't like the Razer software.
Yeah, I'm really not a fan of too much third-party software. So I haven't used a Razer accessory before, like personally. So I've had them, I've dealt with them before, obviously, but like I haven't had one. There's a difference between like dealing with one when someone brings one into you. You go over to someone's house and they've got all that kit there, and then there's actually owning it and using it for yourself for like an extended period of time. There's two different things, two different like views on it. Like if you see it every day, you become very, very aware of any little problem with it. Whereas if you just use it for, bits like short periods of time, separated by longer periods of time, your perspective on it might not be as good as if, you had it and owned it yourself, obviously. So where do we get up to down here? Origin, no NZXT. Put Office 365 on there. Most people have if they don't just subscribe to Office 365 and all that, most people have like a work email address that'll actually give them access to Microsoft Office. So as long as you're not doing anything your employer might like see or something like that with regards to your Microsoft Office files, but most people would be in a situation where anything they do on their computer in the office is not it's not going to be a problem if their employer sees it. Alright, so we'll let all that stuff download there. It's just a few little bits and pieces that MSI have their RGB control, but we don't have any RGB devices connected here. These fans on the front are controlled by this button on the front. There's even a rainbow function. So yeah, not everyone likes the rainbow. The rainbow is like the most popular kind of RGB setting that people run. So that's why I'll normally turn the lights over to that, because people are always, you'd be surprised, how people's brains work. And we need R23, which is for our stress test. And finally, we've got a couple more to install here. We do have a crucial NVMe SSD, so we'll install their software. And we'll install our benchmark apps so we can see how it games. Office downloaded. Okay, let's set up our on-screen overlay and our graphics card fan settings. Just take a second. This here is the on-screen overlay that you see during the benchmarks. So you can select whatever statistics you want to see in here. I normally just show the power total, not the percentage, because it's just another thing to confuse people. Control 10, 11, 12, you can make them whatever you want. There we go, that will be ready for next time. Alrighty, everything here should be all up to date. I'm sorry if I've forgotten your location. I think that's your time zone. It's going to be for now, and it doesn't make any difference on the East Coast right now. Okay. Yeah, we don't need any of that. It's all looking good. Sweet. Now that we've got some stuff installed, we can go into this PC and you can see we don't see our hard drive. It's like it's not working or something like that. Well, it's working, it's all connected. And this is actually the point where we find out whether it actually works. When we click on disk management, and if this initialize disk menu comes up with disk 0 unknown showing up, that would be a good sign that your hard drive works completely normally. And so we need to create a partition. So the best way for me to explain what a partition is to someone who does into the big hill country where there is just grass as far as the eye can see, or a particular crop as far as the eye can see. Imagine trying to map that out so you would know how to get to each individual square meter in that huge expansive area that goes on beyond the horizon. The easiest way to do that would be to actually get here, and do that for the entire volume that you're dealing with, that entire big field. And so that's kind of what we're doing with a partition. We're putting up fences down in through our hard drive so we can navigate it, so we know where different things are stored on the hard drive, and it's not just a big fucking mess, basically. And so you might be wondering, okay, so we've got 3 gigabytes, how come we're not going to be having 3 gigabytes worth of usable space? Well, the best way to try to make that really simple for you to understand is go back to my fence metaphor for the big open field. That the fence palings and the fencing wire, that takes up a bit of the space inside that field, and that's kind of like a partition. It needs a little bit of the space to put itself in, if that makes sense. So hopefully I've made it a little bit easier to understand for some people, because I know it can be a little bit of a head fuck. But that is a really simple way to get your head around why the hard drive doesn't quite have all the space that it's advertised on the box when you buy it, and what this partition bullshit actually is doing. Because now we've got this drive here that we can go into, D drive. We can do whatever the hell we want to it. We can write whatever data we want to it. We can put whatever we want on here. And it's not going to be a problem accessing that information. We're going to know exactly where that is on that big 3 terabyte hard drive. We're not going to have to go around looking for it. There's an index on the drive that lists all the partition information, and so things can be found easily. But I don't want to go too much into the science of hard drives and how it all works, because it's not really relevant to the average consumer. All you need to understand is the basics about what I've just said there about a hard drive. And it's the same with an SSD. Any storage device needs to have a partition created on it, and it always needs a certain amount of room for indexing and other functions, and so you'll never get the full 500 gigabytes that you paid for in the drive. You'll see it's definitely a 500 gigabyte drive. Put it in here and it's 465. What's the deal? And that is the deal. It needs more than just storage space. It needs space in order to operate properly. Alright, how are we going here? Everything except Wi-Fi drivers. Okay. That's done. Alright. So we can actually use our RAM to speed up our SSD speeds. So I'll turn that on as well while we're here. It requires a reboot, but we need a reboot anyway. Alrighty, so it'll be done soon. So obviously at the back here, you don't plug into the motherboard, you plug in to the graphics card. These two display outputs here, they don't work, so don't plug into them. It's one of the common things that people will ask, and then they feel really stupid when they do ask because it's like such a simple thing. But if you've never had a graphics card before, it's not necessarily straightforward. All right. So that error before was from Riva Tuner Statistics Server. Seems to be okay. So, let's turn off some of this annoying shit that starts up automatically. I hate all that. I always turn like basically everything off. I'm sure we can decide what software we want to open up when we go into our computer. Alright, that stuff can all open up, that's all fine. Sweet as. Alrighty, that's all looking good. Yeah, 3 terabyte hard drives in there. Sweet as. We are 100% all good for that. Oh, let's check and make sure that we are definitely 100% out of the box compatible with Windows 11. Because eventually, I'm not recommending people upgrade to Windows 11 just yet, but eventually there will come a time when there will be more problems with Windows 10 than there are with Windows 11. And when we get to that point, then I'll be saying to people move over to 11. But right now it's the reverse of that, so I can't professionally recommend that to anyone. So it's just this little Windows PC Health Check app. And you can just go ahead and open it. And we can check now, and yes, we are definitely compatible with Windows 11. Everything's all sweet as it is now. Sweet as. So let's have a look at this PC. So like I said, we've got Acronis True Image, so we can make images of our hard drive if we ever want to move on to another hard drive or whatever. CPU Z here. This tells you all information about your computer. CPU, motherboard, memory, more about memory, your graphics card. It's got a little bench test you can do and compare. You can have a bit of fun with that. Hardware monitor. This is obviously, like I said, does exactly what the name says. It monitors your temperatures and all of your hardware. So very handy to have. If you think something's overheating, just open that up, use your computer normally, and go back to it, and I'll probably ask you to send me a screenshot of it, and I'll tell you if it's overheating or you should be concerned or whatever. Crucial Storage Executive, that's just the software for our SSD. Disk info. So this one, oh, there's no Crystal Disk Mark. Why didn't Disk Mark get installed? There's another companion application to this Crystal Disk Info, which gives you all information about your storage devices. So as we can see here, we got a new hard drive. Power on 6 times. That's probably from that RAM error at the start that was causing it to turn off and on a few times. And then yeah, same with our SSD there. But yeah, fundamentally a brand new drive, 0 hours, 0 hours. And so yeah, the Disk Mark app is one where you can test the speed of your SSD. And so I'll show you what I mean by your SSD speeds. This is just a Crucial P2 500 gigabyte, or even, was it P1 even? P1. So have a look at how fast it goes with the momentum cache activated. Look at that, like Gen 4. GeForce Experience, that's to keep your drivers updated for NVIDIA for your graphics card. MSI Afterburner will allow you to adjust some settings on your graphics card. The benchmarks there that I'll run, and VLC Media Player, that's just like the best media player that you can get. If VLC won't play the file, it's probably a virus. In fact, I can probably confidently say that it is a virus if VLC won't play it and you're running the latest version. And so you can see nice fast speeds on our SSD there. And while that's going on, let's start some gaming benchmarks here. Alrighty, so this number here below RAM is how many frames per second it's currently running at, and the temperatures and everything up here is pretty self-explanatory. Okay. Alright, so the next one we do is Valley. This is a more demanding benchmark, and we also run it on higher settings here. So the frame rate's lower, but this gives you more of an idea for running a game that's more visually and graphically intensive. The other one was like Fortnite. Alrighty, so that was Valley there on Ultra with max anti-aliasing. Anti-aliasing is like line smoothing if you're unfamiliar. It's basically an extra lot of calculations the graphics card has to make in real time to make the lines look smoother. So it has a bit of a toll on the process, the graphical processing, but it makes the image look a little bit better. And so this final one is at 4K resolution. So this is the other two are in 1080p, just to give you an idea. So this one will run at a lower frame rate once again, but like I said, this is at 4K resolution, so a bit of a different ball game. Oh God. Alrighty. So that's all the benchmarks we've got to show for you. I mean, I could run other ones, but like these are just 3 easy ones to install, and they're common ones that a lot of people run on their own computer. So it's a good way for people to compare what they've got at home with what they see being built here at a night time. So, alright, that can go in there. And that's the end of that. There's our SSD speeds. So, yeah, no issue there. The caching is giving us Gen 4 like speeds. But the main thing we're doing here tonight is just making sure it doesn't overheat when we stress it out. And why aren't I seeing a Geeks 3D? Did I miss one? I think I missed one. Okay, so this little guy here, this one we use to stress the graphics card, while over here we use this to stress the CPU. So we've got our CPU there. We've got our 6 cores and 12 threads, I should say. We've got these 12 boxes over here showing you exactly what those 12 threads are actually working on right now. The graphics card 3D rendering is being maxed out here on that furry donut. And while that's going on, we just go and log all the temperatures that we're recording. So we let this one run for 90 minutes, and after 90 minutes I can pretty much tell what it'll be like if we run it for another 4 hours. So 90 minutes is generally enough for me. I see everything that I need to see in 90 minutes, and if it passes a stress test, I'm pretty confident there's nothing the customer's going to do that's going to make it get as hot as what we've done here in the stress test. So yeah, happy days. So yes, this is the point where, this is the very end of the night, and so this is where I just throw it over to anyone else who's got any other final questions for me before I sign off. Sorry, I just stood up so I could see some of the comments there on YouTube. That's mostly from a little while ago. Oh yes. How's our graphics card looking? Yeah, 67 on the GPU, 79 on the hotspot. That's looking pretty good. So 83 degrees is our limit, and 100 degrees on the hotspot. So that's still well under tolerance there, about 20% under the temp limit, which is good. Operating in the green zone. CPUs can go up to 100 degrees. So to give you a bit of an idea of where that is. So all in all, not seeing any issues here that's making me concerned about running the stress test. So yeah, all in all, it's happy days. All I've got to do is enter the Windows key, and this computer will be ready to ship out. Anything else you need to know? Oh, I'm sure there probably is something else that you need to know. But if you think of anything, just write down any questions that you have and send them through. Happy to answer anything. But yeah, hopefully seeing it get put together and get tested a little bit gives you some idea of what sort of system that you've got. Yeah. No, I think that'll probably be it for tonight. Because I don't know, it's not really raining here anymore, but I have a feeling it's going to start pissing down with rain again soon. So I'm going to get off, not like that. I'm going to go offline and have some dinner and go to bed, I think. So thanks everyone for watching. We've got another one planned for tomorrow night, so be sure to catch that one if you've got nothing planned for your Friday night. But until then, have a good one. Thanks everyone for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all in the next video.